Half past midnight.
Travis Walton. It's my favorite story of all time. And in the intro, it was talked about this man was a logger. He removed trees, cut down trees in the middle of the woods. In 1975, he was 22 years old, and he was on a crew. And the crew had a contract to clear these mountains in Arizona. Yes, there is forests in Arizona. And the funny thing about this, if there is any, it was the name of the closest town to where they was at was called Snowflake, Arizona. It's irony. But there's no snow in Arizona, but the name of the town was Snowflake. The closest town. They're clearing the mountains, and that's hard work. I don't care who you are, running chainsaws all day long, your arms, that beats you to death. Hard work, hard labor, hot in the forest or whatever, and you're isolated with just you and your crew for miles and miles and miles. They get to the end of their work day, and they pile all their tools up in the truck, and they load into the truck. There's a five or six man crew. I can't remember now. One of them is a relative of his. It's his sister's husband. He's the foreman of the crew. It's his truck. Everybody piles in. All the rest of the co-workers, he knew them. They'd worked together for a little while on these contracts. And he got along with everybody. There was one bad seed, one bad guy in the group, if you would even call him that. And he just was an attitude, mouthy guy. Mm-hmm. And they had a disagreement during that work day. This is all relative later to the story. They had got into an argument over something at the lunchtime that day, and the dude literally had a running chainsaw to Travis Walton's head, just to get under his skin. Didn't mean anything by it, like I'm going to kill you. It was just to get under his skin. That becomes relevant later in this story. So they pile up at the end of the workday. They're all exhausted. They're all beat, and all they want to do is get down the mountain and get home. They busted their butt all day. It's getting dark, and they load it up. And as they're driving down this mountain, it's probably, I don't know the exact number, but I know it takes a while to get out of these woods and back to the closest town. It's dark. It's starting to get dark, and it is dark, and they see a light in the woods. A big glowing light in the woods, and their first thought, above all, is holy crap, there is a forest fire, and we're going to get trapped on this mountain and burn to death. Second thought for the foreman was, it's burning up the trees that we're supposed to cut down. I'm going to lose his contract.
Right.
But they keep driving. He's like, it's a fire. It's got to be a fire. It's too bright. It's lighting up too much of the forest. It's a big, big, big fire. We're screwed. We got to get down this mountain before we get trapped. So he's driving fast, and down these little mountain roads, barely a lane for a big work utility truck. And the closer they get, the more it's starting to not look like a fire. There's no smoke. And they're all like, weirded out, can't figure it out. They don't smell smoke. They don't see smoke. They don't smell fire. They don't nothing. They're just a bright light. And they come around this bend, and there is a UFO sitting in a clearing in this woods. Straight UFO. And the driver panics and slams on the brake, and they slide to a stop. And before the vehicle comes to an even complete stop, Travis is outside of the truck.
What? Completely?
He jumps out of the truck. He cannot believe what he sees, and he wants to get closer to it. Everybody else stays in the truck and piles to the side of the vehicle that the UFO is on. And they're screaming at Travis at the top of their lungs. Travis, what are you doing, you idiot? Get in the truck. Get back in the truck. Cold chills. Because he's like me in a way. When I see something that's awesome like that, that's out of this world, I don't know if I would get that close to it, but I am not going to look away. I'm not going to
Right. No,
run. I
for sure.
can't. I'm too curious. I'm too creatively minded.
Yeah.
And he
I'm
inches
like that, bro.
closer and closer and closer to this thing. And it's
It's
emitting a
snatching.
noise. It's like a wave. It's like a
Yeah.
in the middle of the silence of this woods. And he's astonished by it. And he keeps getting closer and closer. And he walks into the clearing. And they can the whole truck of his co-workers are sitting on this road screaming at the top of their lungs at him to get back in the truck. And it's to the point where he's looking at an angle. This thing is levitating off the ground like 20 foot, but it's in an opening of trees, a clearing where through the canopy it could sit like below the tree line but not touch the ground. And these are massive trees. So it had sunk, but it was still off the ground a good 20 foot. And he turns around to the truck to throw up his arms like, look how cool this is. When the gets so loud that the truck is vibrating. And they know
You're blurred.
as loud as he is, as loud as that sound is, that Travis could no longer hear him. Come on. So there's no screaming loud enough for him to be able to hear them over the noise, and they can't hear Travis. They just see him.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so loud, like I said, the truck is vibrating. And all of a sudden, a light kicks on. It's a blue beam directly at Travis. Hits him right in his chest. A laser light. It's not even a laser beam. It's more like a bright, directed light. It hits him square in the chest, and his body flies like 10 or 15 feet into the air and backwards. Like he hit, boom! And he flies backwards and hits the ground.
Yeah. Freaking laser beam.
He rolls. Well, laser, you think a laser, it would burn through something. So it's more of like a energy light. Boom! Knocked him away from the craft. He hits the ground and rolls a little bit, and they think he's dead. They think he just got shot by a UFO. He's dead. They panic. And they smack the driver, who's his own brother-in-law. Go, 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 go. And they panic and they leave him. They get down to they don't go all the way to the bottom of the hill, I don't think. They drive far enough away that they can still see the light in the woods. Or they don't. They drive far enough away that they can't see the light anymore. The light disappears, and they pull over. They stop. They panic. They jump out. What the hell? It got Travis. What are we gonna do? Oh my gosh! And we can't leave him. I'm not going back. To that thing. You go back. No, I'm not leaving anybody else. Everybody's getting in this damn truck, and we're going back for Travis. That's my brother-in-law. I can't look at my sister in her face knowing I left her brother up here to die. Get in the damn truck. We're going back for Travis. They go back to the spot. No Travis. No body. No light. No UFO. Nothing.
God, dude.
There's no cell phones in 1973, 1975. No cell phones. Nothing. They had to go all the way down. Probably a 30-minute drive from that point forward, 30, 40 minutes down the mountain. Mm-hmm. Through these logger roads, weaving through the mountains to get to a payphone, and they call the police. Sheriff shows up, and they see 5 men in shock. They are terrified, and the only one that is able to actually speak to the cops is Travis's brother-in-law. His name is Mike. He tells them exactly what happened. And the first thought on the sheriff's mind is, which one of you killed Travis and hid his body in the woods? Because this story makes 0 sense. And they're like, we'll take you back to where we saw him last. So the sheriff's like, it's dark, boys. I ain't going up this mountain in the dark. Y'all must be crazy. He called for backup. Like 10 cops show up, and they ended up going up to the top of the mountain with flashlights, and they looked for 10 or 15 minutes, if that, No Travis. Everybody screaming for Travis. No answer. Nothing in the woods. So they go home. Like, go home and don't leave town. Because they don't think it's aliens. They think somebody murdered them.
Mm-hmm.
The next day, broad daylight, they go up at a massive search party. And they search, I don't know how many square miles. No sign of Travis. No sign of nothing. There's nothing but trees and woods and animals on this mountain. And so they take every single one of the people in the crew. The town goes into shock. Like, one of these guys, they murdered him. They call every single one of these guys in and interrogate them. Day one, or day two, technically the morning of day two. Yeah. They interrogate them.
Didn't they make a movie about this too?
Yeah, I've seen the movie.
I've
read the book. I read the book first. It's fascinating. The movie is so good too. The movie doesn't do the book justice what he claims happened because it leaves a large chunk out. We'll get there too. But anyways,
the movie.
So day one, they interrogate every single one of these guys. They all tell them the exact same story. The one bad egg doesn't like cops. He has a record. It's petty. Ain't no murderer. But he doesn't like cops. There's people in this world that doesn't like cops. It doesn't make them murderers.
Right.
But also, and you got to look at this situation. If something he knew that those cops didn't believe him. He knew that there's no way that the cops believed him. He knew he was the only one on the crew with a record. He knew that they were looking at him. So he didn't cooperate fully. He told them the truth. They didn't believe him, and he clammed up. Screw you guys. I told you what happened. Everybody's telling you what happened. You ain't believing me. You ain't believing us. This goes on for at least 2 days. Day 3 or 4, still no Travis. No word. News is leaked out. News crews are starting to show up. Local missing man on the mountain, missing logger. They bring in the state of Arizona has brought in the most they've flown in a guy from, I don't know if he's FBI, CIA, I don't know what he was, but at this time,
do a lie detector test.
At this time, he was one of the top guys in the country for lie detector tests. Now, we know lie detector tests today are admissible in court. Those days, I don't know if it was, I think it could hold up in court, possibly. If not, it was a big character thing, regardless. It may, I don't know about legally. I have to look that up. I'm not sure about that, but I do know still, regardless of legality, at that time, it was looked at as a big character thing. You're willing to do this, and this is what the test says. 4 out of the 5 men passed the lie detector test. 100%. No failure rate. The 5th was the guy that didn't trust the cops. And he did not fail the test. It was inconclusive. There's a major difference there. Failure is showing deception. Inconclusive just means that his heart rate fluttered. He didn't trust. He didn't like the situation that he was in. Did not mean he was lying. It's inconclusive. That's one major plot in this thing that I've said from day one. They all passed. Not a single one of them ever failed. There was one inconclusive. That inconclusive still, he agreed to a second test before Travis showed back up and passed. So he did the test twice and passed.
They all passed.
They all passed, and eventually they all passed. Yep, they didn't know what to do. Don't leave town. You cannot leave town, because it's still an investigation. They went.
Didn't they almost lock the whole town down?
Yeah, they looked a second time up on this mountain. Day 4, they looked a second time. It may have been the morning of day 5. They did a second search. They couldn't find nothing nowhere.
They swept the whole forest.
They couldn't find any helicopters, plane. They couldn't find nothing nowhere. The evening of night 5, Mike is sitting at his house. Ooh, it gives me cold chills. They eating supper and the phone rings. This is Travis's sister. The phone rings. And there's a voice on the other end that you can barely make out. He says, Mike, it's Travis. He's calling from a payphone on the other side of the mountain.
Bro.
They jump in their trucks, panicked. Mike jumps in his truck, his sister jumps in the truck, and they fly to the payphone where Travis tells him he's at. And it's in the middle of nowhere. It's an abandoned gas station with a payphone. And he has a scruffy beard, about like mine. He'd been gone for 5 days. He had the same, maybe a week or 2 week beard growth on him, and was pale, was super dehydrated. He had no energy whatsoever, could barely talk. All he wanted to do was go home. That's all he wanted before he got out of that truck, before he was fascinated. So secretly, they didn't tell anybody. He wanted a night's rest. They drove him back home. And they gave him they hid him for like 2 or 3 days. I think that was a piece of their mistake. They hid Travis for 2 or 3 days to let him get physically better.
Yeah,
But so he could present himself to the cops. I think that was a big mistake, because instantly they should have said, "Hey, we got Travis." That would have helped the story be a little bit, but also in the same time, this is his sister, this is his brother-in-law. You don't care about what the cops and everybody think. You want what's best for Travis. That's your family. You want him to be good before you present. Anyways, a couple days later, they call and present their story to the cops, and obviously they think it's a hoax. They think something's going on. Travis eventually they get Travis to pass lie detector tests, and his story comes out. And it became eventually a book, which eventually became a movie. The book came out in the 80s. The movie came out in the 90s. I own both, by the way. I got the book in my nightstand still. I'm pretty positive it's in my nightstand over there. If not, I should have got it for this. But it's called Fire in the Sky. The movie,
Fire in the Sky, yeah, that's also what the movie's called
the
too.
book, yeah,
Fire in the Sky.
Fire in the Sky. And
I'm trying to think of it.
Absolutely fascinating. That's the history of that. Travis's story, like everything that I told you is in the movie. The abduction piece in the movie is only about 6 to 8 minutes. That's what I find. That's what I find sad. Oh, the last third of the book is about the aliens and abduction. He saw Nordic aliens. He saw the Nordics, the white, beautiful people, the white men.
Mm-hmm.
He saw a mute human. He was a man, but he could not speak. He saw the Greys. They did tests on him, both sexual in nature and health in nature. They experimented on him. They shoved crap down his throat, goopy stuff. He woke up. So basically, the beam of light hit him, and that's all Travis remembered initially. Under hypnosis and under everything else, over time, his memories come back that he woke up in a pod up on the ship. It was a goopy mess of a pod, and he tore himself from this pod. And
kind of like an incubator.
Yep. And they realized he was still awake, and they drug him back to continue doing experiments on him. And once they realized he was still, because I think they thought they killed him, or maybe the beam did kill him or injured him enough that he should have died, and they either brought him back. They saved him, brought him back to life or whatever, and then placed him back to where he could call for help. That's what he thinks. That's out of the words out of his own mouth. That's what he thinks.
Oh my God.
They had him, so he was alive, so they experimented on him, and then they put him back. That's what he thinks. But there was...
That'd be such a shitty situation. And then, like,
escapes
trying to make people believe.
In the book, he escapes from the ship, only to find that the ship is parked inside of a mothership. Mm-hmm. He comes out of this ship, and there's like 15 more ships inside of a hangar on his mothership. So he's still trapped. That's where he meets the Nordics. They still say that they weren't in charge of the ship. There was like a bunch of different alien races and cloned humans that weren't quite right, but still had human bodies. All this stuff is in his book. That's not in the movie.
I gotta read the book.
And they took him back. They brung him back or whatever. But yeah, That's, I'm telling you, it's so fascinating.
Like, bro, being in that abducted situation would be such a shitty spot. You're trying to make people not think you're psychotic or like you're having a mental breakdown, and you're just stuck with this experiment.
And Travis is still alive today. He still does interviews every once in a while. He went to a bunch of UFO things coming through it. He drug his feet. He was one of the most famous abductees in the history of abductions, and he didn't want to talk about it. And there's one, and this gives me chills too. So a couple of years ago, he's getting up in age. Like I said, he was 22.
Right.
He was 22 in 1975. So he's getting up in age, but he agreed to do a podcast for an interview for this person. And he pulls up at the meeting spot. This is from the podcaster's perspective. He pulls up at the spot, and Travis pulls up in his truck and sits there, doesn't get out. And the guy starts getting weirded out at the situation because he sits for so long. And he's like, am I supposed to go to him? I thought he was coming to me and we were going somewhere. And he sits there and he sits there and he sits there, and Travis doesn't move.
Could you imagine if we got Travis on this pod?
35 to 40 minutes later, Travis finally gets out of the truck and comes and gets in the other truck. And he's like, I don't want to be rude or whatever, but you said you had a limited time to do this, and then you pull up and sit for 40 minutes. And Travis looks at the man dead in his eyes, and he said, I've talked about the worst day in my life so many times, but it never gets old. I still relive it every single time I have to tell this story, and it takes me that long, if not longer, to prepare myself to even talk about it again.
Right.
That's real. That's trauma. That's
Yeah.
PTSD.
Oh, yeah. And you don't escape that either.
You can't fake that shit.
That's a lifetime type shit.
Yeah, you get
to the lifetime subscription.
To me, it's
forever.
The most believable case of all the cases that have ever existed that I know about.
And we got Travis on this.
That's what got me into aliens. He's fascinating. It is a fascinating story. I don't know if it's true or not. I have no idea. I personally believe it. What those aliens are, I still am on the fence about. But I think it happened, and I think it is utterly fascinating. So crazily cool. But that's the Travis Walton Fire in the Sky story. That's Travis today, basically. It's 2019, but yeah.
Yeah, he's aging pretty well.
His story has never changed. Not one word.
That's definitely crazy.
What they made the aliens look like in the movie is crazy, dude. Oh shoot. Like this is him on the Joe Rogan podcast. That's fast.
Oh, he was on Joe Rogan?
Yes, he was. But this
I gotta go listen.
This is a screenshot from. Well, come on, thing. My camera, my thing almost locked up. This is a screenshot what they made the aliens look like. That's from the film. That's
I remember. Yeah,
what the aliens look like.
They kind of like mad looking. Look how mad he looks.
Yeah. But yeah, he's on the podcast, Joe Rogan. They said he's very private now. He feels like that's time. He's talked about it enough. He just wants to live in peace, and I can respect that.